So in 6.08, we touched on the line of best fit. Most of you remembered this from 8th grade. It's definitely not a new concept. It's very much like linear equations and lines on a graph, but instead we're just creating our own through a bunch of points. So the line of best fit is also known as line of fit or the trend line. It is a straight line drawn through the center of data points on a scatter plot. So you'll see down here, it's always a line that cuts the data points in half. So you always want to have about as many points above and below as possible to make sure that they're equal, and as many points that you can go through is the best. These lines of best fit are really good at generalizing the data. And it helps us to see the relationship between the two variables. And we also really like lines of best fit because it allows us to predict unknown data points. So if I can draw a line of best fit, I can also predict what the data point would be if the line continued. Because once I have a line, I can now create an equation for it. And we'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. So creating a trend line, there should be roughly the same amount of data points above and below the line. It can be used, outliers should not affect how the line of fit is drawn. So you'll see that over here we have an outlier. We're not going to use this point to determine what is cutting these points in half. This one's not really with the rest of our data, so we're kind of going to ignore it and focus on the data that's super clustered together to determine where we should draw our line so that it cuts it in half. When describing the line of best fit, we use the direction of positive or negative. In other words, sloping up or down. And we talked about this yesterday. It's just like how we learned how to describe the slope of a line. There's 3 types of strength: strong, moderate, or weak. And this depends on how close the data is to the line. So you're going to see to the far left, strong data is when all of the points are super close together. That means it's very consistent. Everything's pretty much the same. Moderate, you're going to see that the point together. Weak, you're going to see that they're much further apart. But in all 3 of these, it's very clear that there is a direction that the points are going. In this case, they're all going up. They just differ in how close the points are together. Of course, we would always prefer to have a strong strength or relationship because this makes the data more predictable and reliable.